Welcome back to the weekend preview here for Los Alamitos Racecourse. It is the weekend of July 23rd and 24th, and now joined by Christopher Wade, your Los Alamitos analyst there from the paddock each and every racing night. Chris, first of all, how were the Winter Nationals? How did they treat you last week?
Oh, it was crazy. It was so crowded. We had almost 6,000 people. We haven't had them for a couple of years. It was packed. Very, very exciting. The people loved it, and it was a great evening.
Yeah, it was a fun evening there of racing for the Winter Dogs and the Winter Nationals. Congrats. It was one of the most eventful finals that we've seen in recent years. It might have been the most eventful one.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
The placing judges, Professor G, everyone was working overtime because it came down to a tight finish there in the Winter Nationals. But a fun crowd. Thank you to everybody that participated and all the racing fans that joined us on track this past weekend at Los Alamitos. All right, so here on track, we have 8 races on Saturday, and we're also going to talk about the Ruidoso Futurity this upcoming weekend at Ruidoso. But first, let's take a look at a horse that you want to look at in race number 8 by the name of Matt Toole. And Chris, the name sounds familiar because you gave us this runner last time out.
Yeah, I sure did. Just like I said, this horse had a stack of ability. He's been a W, which in my terms is a horse to watch. And each subsequent start, this horse is an A- and a B. A- and A- worker prior to the debut. Showed a ton of talent, but he's had trouble in each and every lifetime start. Last time we did like him off the videotape from his prior effort, everything factored in, trouble track variant. He figured best in that affair, and he won nicely with one left to give, despite breaking a little bit slow, getting rank, and lugging out the final half of the affair, but he galloped out like an absolute freak. He's got a ton of talent. If he can just run that ability, get out of the gate, and run a straight course, he's got a good look to go into some allowance event at 8-1 morning line and have a chance to get a nice slice of the pie.
Yeah, he looked like, when you were talking about this horse last time, I remember you saying if he can ever get out of the gate, right, he'll show what he can have. And let's take a look at what he did here on June 25th when you gave him out and you liked him. He had the inside post, but Chris, he finally broke, right? That was the big thing.
Yeah, he was moving around a little bit at the gate, as per usual, inside the barrier. He broke relatively, kind of bobbled a little bit, head cocked sideways a little bit, but he showed good speed. Fired right into the lead, and kind of lugged out a little bit, was under a guzzle the final half of the affair, but he was trying to get over and lugging out every step of the way. The faster that, the harder this rider is pulling, the faster I count on my numbers, and with everything factored in, trouble track variant. This horse too had about a length and a half or so worth of trouble, and with lugging out and being under a guzzle that final half of the affair, and his number is still pretty solid, and with on my charts with everything factored in, his number's not too bad, and right there in the mix with this good group of horses, including Apolitical Jet, who qualified to the Ed Burke.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice field to end the night on Saturday night. But that's a replay there for Matt Toole, which you liked him that night. He won a nearly 4-1, 3.5-1, so around 7-2 was his odds that night that he won. So you're getting him at 8-1, and you're getting him because it's a very good field. We'll recap the PPs here. We got Kiss Me Flying on the rail. Comes out of a win. Elise Matisse was a nice debut winner. Apolitical Jet, Chris, is the runner that qualified to the Ed Burke Millie.
Yeah, he qualified the Ed Burke, and he broke out and got bumped in that gate and was under a tight hold late. Galloped out pretty well, but that was up against a top-notch group of horses. And his trial event with everything factored in, his numbers very, very good. So he's probably got a big look in that affair. Obviously, he's got a lot of talent. And he's one to watch. And, of course, J. La Sultana, another horse with ability, had some trouble in his last start. And he's got to look at the outcome there as well.
So actually, we have a couple of horses that we previewed on the show that are coming off of wins. Matt Toole and then Jetting Gigi, who was a non-starter 2 starts ago. We gave that one another push and came back and crushed. So a nice way to end the night there on Saturday in that allowance. And Chris likes Matt Toole right back off that maiden diploma. Before we let you go, Chris, why don't we preview a little bit of what's to come down at Ruidoso. Ruidoso this weekend have the finals of the Rainbow Futurity. And I'm looking forward to this race because, we have familiar bloodlines that we've seen not only here at Los Al, but throughout the country. And one runner that is looking like a standout based on what he did is Cyber Attack. We saw those bloodlines, Favorite Cartel, Remember Me Rose. We've seen these bloodlines time and time again, right, Chris? And they delivered again with the dominating trial.
Yeah, this horse had a ton of trouble in the debut, winning that trial, and we liked him in that trial. And he kind of leaned back at the start. He didn't actually hop. He kind of leaned back and lost about 3/4, but he asked a little bit early and showed a big turn of foot midway, going to the front end, was starting out like an absolute freak. This horse had a ton of ability. He was the fastest qualifier to the Rainbow, and with only 2 lifetime starts, one race where he did got a halfway decent. He's got a lot left in the tank, and he's got a big look to. I'll take 3-1 all day long on this cowbell with Crystal Verdell in Rosenthal Ranch that has the connections.
You can see Get Here Fast is actually listed at 5-2 because of that resume. He was second in the Ruidoso Futurity, which was won by Honest Boy, who you gave out as a runner that you like. Get Here Fast listed at 5-2. Outside of those two, maybe a price that I might look a little bit towards would be a Lucky Lady. I just like the progression from the first out to the second out. Not sold on the inside post, but I just visually, I like the way she was kind of still wanting to finish with good energy, and the time was solid, 1965. And Chris, what's going to make this final interesting is that on day one of the trials, it was fast conditions. On the second trial, you see sloppy conditions. So I think that makes it a little bit interesting as far as handicapping some of those horses on that second day of trials.
Yeah, it certainly does. I'm going to check my variances on that second day to see if the races were slow. They probably were a tad slow that particular day, but on my opinion, all eyes point to Christopher Verdell's in Rosenthal Ranch's Cyber Attack. This horse has got so much talent. He was so impressive in that trial affair, and he's going to have my backing in that final.
Well, it's going to be a fun renewal of the Rainbow Futurity. That's going to be on Saturday night. Los Alamitos will simulcast that race. You can find these PPs there in the Nightlines as well. Rainbow Quarter Horse Futurity Grade 1, sponsored by Gold Eagle Tequila, $1 million.
Right.
And on the line. All right. Thank you for that little bit of a preview of Cyber Attack and Rainbow Futurity. Maybe a Lucky Lady underneath, depending on the final odds at a price. We'll take a look and see if we can connect with some sort of exactas or trifectas or some kind of wagers. But thank you for Matt too. Thank you for Ruidoso Futurity. Anything else you're tackling in the Nightlines?
Well, Nightlines on Saturday night, we got a number of races being piped in, races 2 through 10 from Rotama Park. And I do like a horse. I think in the third race is my top pick. He's stretching out from a troubled race going 250. He's stretching out, and I think he's got a big look there. It's a 9 horse. I think it's like 6 or 8 to 1, something along those lines. And you'll see him on the Nightline programs in the back end area for Rotama Park. He's got a nice price there, like 6 or 8 to 1 on the stretch out. He's going to be on the lead because he had trouble, broke slow, lugged out the final half of the area, but he was catching late, and showed me some nice little gallop out. So on the stretch out, I think he's got a chance to go right in the front, possibly keep on going. A nice price there in the first, second race handicap from Rotama Park there on Saturday evening.
All right, we'll take a close look there. You can pick up the copy of the Nightlines on track, or also you can buy it online digitally at losalamitos.com. Chris, thanks so much for the analysis. I'll see you this weekend here at Los Al.
The best in quarter horse racing continues at Los Alamitos Racecourse with California Breeders' Champions Weekend, July 30th and 31st. Juveniles face off in the Governor's Cup Futurity on July 30th, led by fastest qualifier Frivolous. On July 31st, She Goes Up will look to sweep the Governor's Cup Series with a win in the Derby, plus the Spencer Childers Championship and the Matron Stakes for mares. The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos, California Breeders' Champions Weekend.
Welcome back to the program. Now joined by the voice of Los Alamitos, Michael Rona. Michael, how was your maiden voyage during these Winter Nationals?
Wow, that was really something to experience, Jose. We had one dog crossing the finish line without a rug. There was some mayhem surrounding the final with the first dog not completely crossing the finish line, and so I kind of felt like I was thrown in the deep end. But it was a lot of fun for a big crowd on hand, and I was delighted to be involved after, obviously, we weren't able to run the Wiener Nationals the last couple of years due to the pandemic. And I feel like we got a glimpse of some future stars, both canine and equine, last Saturday night in quick succession on the respective programs. I saw the first ever running of the Doxy Diaper Dash.
Yes.
And the winner, Stevie, is certainly a rising star, because at the KTLA preview at the track a few days before the event, Stevie beat Older and those little gateworks were staged on the grassy area in the middle of the walking ring, and then Stevie came back and won the diaper dash on the dirt, the main track. And so you've got the versatility already, a winner on 2 surfaces, right?
Yes.
9 months old, I think. So Stevie's obviously comfortable in front of the cameras, knows how to work a crowd. So this is clearly a canine superstar. And very close to the time that Stevie was creating that big impression in the diaper dash,
Yes.
Nymphette was debuting on the horse racing card. You highlighted the gatework of this well-bred filly in last week's preview show, and what a performance she turned in after being slowly away, coming from 5th. Now, the first thing I look for when horses come from that far off the pace is the closing sectional, the final 1/8 of the mile, and it's normally above 10 seconds.
Yes.
And that takes some gloss off the visual impressive nature of those types of wins. But this horse had a 9.91 closing split. Just enormous performance coming between horses in those closing stages. A half sister to Frivolous, fastest qualifier to next weekend's Governor's Cup Futurity, a half sister to Monopolist, Vessel's Maturity runner-up.
Yep.
Just a fantastic performance.
I was visually impressed. The time I mentioned it on air, the time is not going to tell the entire story because I wrote down her winning time of 15:87. Still, this closing split was not bad at all, given
Not bad.
everything that she had to do. I made her my play of the night. I highlighted that workout, and she lived up to the breeding lines. I just thought she was going to be able to show some talent, and I got to tell you, visually, I was ultra impressed. I think James Glenn Jr., Dr. Ed Arbor, they're going to have a lot of fun with that filly. She's a 3-year-old. You mentioned the siblings. Basically, you got what you wanted, a debut win, and you got something about knowing that she can overcome trouble. So I think it was a win-win, everything around for Nymphette.
Yep, the gallop out was very good as well. A 9.91 is a faster closing split than I expected to see. And so in quick succession on the program, we had Stevie starring in the diaper dash for the doggies, and Nymphette laying claim to future greatness as well. So it was a terrific night.
So this weekend, I'll highlight a few workouts as well. We got some nice breeding lines as well. Sibling to He Dash of Fire and I'm a Fearless Hero, some champions of year past. So I'll highlight some workouts after our segment. But I wanted to mention the championship. I wrote down the field. There was Lucy, Mac, Mr. Weenie, Too Short, Brando, Rowdy, Arlo, Paisley, who ended up being your posted winner, Beanie Von Weenie, who was a part of that chaos there, and Charlie. So that was your final championship field for the Winter Nationals, and it went to Paisley there and saddle number 8.
Paisley made up more ground than Nymphette, by the way.
Yes.
Paisley stood them up a seemingly impossible start. This is obviously the Silky Sullivan of wieners.
It was quite a finish for Paisley there on the outside. And I liked in your race call that you mentioned that it was recency, right? The 2 dogs that won their pretty much towards the end of the night, they came back and ran well in the final.
Yeah, that's right. It was a quick turnaround. It worked in their favor.
It was. All right, let's talk about the horse races on Saturday night. Chris talked to us about race number 8, which was the allowance to end the night. But you got a horse that you like that is towards the end of the early pick 4, right?
Yes, most of the horses that are on my watch list have funneled into race 8. I think there were 4 of them. I was getting a headache looking at that race. So I was pleased when I saw that Chris wanted to talk about a horse there. I thought, good, you can deal with that. It's a very good race. Looking forward to that allowance to finish the night. But in looking elsewhere, I'm going to make a selection for the first time in a 2.5 furlong race. They begin way up at the top of the home stretch, and they'll be coming at us in a straight line for the whole 2.5 furlongs. Polar made a huge impression on me in his debut at this distance last time out on June 18. He'd been a horse with good speed around the turn, but he was struggling to hold on. It's quite a while since he's won a race. He just wasn't holding on strongly enough, so they turned him back in distance to the 2.5 furlongs. And he turned in an amazing performance, as we'll see from gate 4 in this $5,000 claiming race, because he was off slowly. Then the 5 horse came in on him. He was checked back badly to last, and see what happened thereafter.
Yeah, at this point, after that trouble, he's hopelessly last, and you think the race is pretty much over for him at this point, right?
Yeah, he's the grey horse, barely in camera range right now, but he's going to come down the outside. And by the way, the winner of this race, Asian Rain, broke the track record for the 2.5 furlongs. So here comes Polar, would you believe it, making the exacta.
Yeah, he passes everybody and passes them clearly to get into the exacta.
Yeah, very good effort. And he was claimed out of that race by Jesus Uranga for a trainer Angel Santos. And maybe this distance can be a new home, so to speak, for this horse, the Grey Polar. It just might fit his wheelhouse these days. And he's morning line favourite, and I try to shy away from the favourites. But apart from liking too many horses in race 8 and finding that too confusing, there wasn't a great deal else on the card that I was really jazzed about. And Polar was terrific, I thought, in that race we just showed you. So let's see if he can get back to winning ways off the claim for Uranga. He's the 9-5 morning line favourite out of gate 3 on Ed Burgart's morning line. I'll tell you something else that just jumped off the page at me, Jose.
Yes.
And I don't even know why I started reading that. They list the silks in the PPs.
Uh-huh.
And I never bother reading them because as a race caller, I just go by the broader visual impact of the silks. Yes. And Angel Santos's colours are terrific for a race caller. They're bright lime with blue diamond sleeves. That's all I've ever known about them. A lot of silks have intricate logos on the or insignias on the jacket, but that means nothing to me. But so here I am. I just was glancing at these silks. It says girl riding shrimp on back. Now, I've never noticed that. I've called these colors plenty of times. I'm not going to see the back of the silks in this 2.5 furlong straight race, but that's kind of unusual, don't you think?
Yeah, I just caught that as well. It's funny that we both were kind of gravitating towards that as we were going through the PPs. I highlighted girl riding shrimp on back. Now I want to see those silks up and close.
Well, I'll have to train the binoculars on them as the field's moving onto the track.
Yeah, like just for example, Equipois, cowboy with bucking bull emblem, right? So we see some of these type of things on silk. So Prince Ricky, white horse head emblem on back. So maybe we'll start paying attention a little bit more closely to some of these silks as they hit the parade.
Yeah, those types of things might be good for post parades or winner's circle photos, but it's honestly nothing I ever even read or notice normally. It doesn't do anything for a race caller because you just see a flash of silks, and I'm just looking for bold patterns, rather than those sorts of intricacies on a small logo on the jacket. But that one, I just happened, it jumped off the page at me when I was looking at Polar's PPs a few minutes ago, and I thought, okay, probably need a closer look at that one.
Right. So train your binoculars there, looking at Polar coming during the parade for race number 4. So thank you for that replay on Polar. It was quite a replay for him to get up for second after everything that happened. And you mentioned Ancient Rain, the eventual winner, was posting a new track record for the distance.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So great effort by Polar. And if he replicates that with hopefully a better getaway, then I think he'll be getting the money.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for that selection, Polar. Best of luck. We'll see you this weekend at Los Alamitos, Michael.
Good on you, mate. Hooroo.
The traditional $2 Pick Six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. On Sunday, June 5th, the Pick Six had a season-high payout of over $76,000, and the total Pick Six pool was over $128,000. On March 27th, the total Pick Six pool was a meets best $320,000. Plus, on Sunday nights when there's not a carryover, Los Alamitos continues to add $10,000 to the Pick Six pool. Talk about some good old-fashioned Pick Six excitement. The traditional $2 Pick Six, a great bet, a great deal, always at Los Alamitos.
Welcome back. We're taking a look here right now. Race number 5. We'll preview some workouts for a couple of these runners in race number 5. Most notably, we have a runner with experience coming in from Ruidoso by the name of Famous Miss Kitty for Mr. Johnny Trotter, joining the barn of Jose Flores. Erasmo Gasca has the mount. She has competed in a pair of Futurity trials and a maiden event. Most recently, a second in a Futurity trial at Ruidoso. Was a betting favorite there from gate 10. She was lugging in there from the outside post, ended up finishing second best, to the impressive winner out of the way. We'll look at Better World here, who worked in 1260 on July 2nd. And we'll also take a look at Dasha Dynasty of 1220 on July 2nd as well. But let's start here with Miss Famous Kitty working on June 25th here, 1210 from the gate, the best of 15 works that morning. Here's Miss Famous Kitty on June 25th. Solo work, good quick break, nice acceleration. The strides are quick, efficient. She keeps low to the ground. Rider is very quiet, not asking for much. Ends up under a little bit of a hold there, approaching the final yards, approaching the finish line. Good work. I mean, she did everything right in that workout. Broke well, quick into stride, responded without really being asked. She accelerated with good strides. 12:10 bullet workout for Famous Miss Kitty. She looks ready to go here for first local start at Los Alamitos. Up next, here's Better World. Better World was on the outside of two-team set on July 2nd. Better World is fillied by Fly to the Fire. She breaks well on the outside. You can see she's wanting to move inwards. The rider is just wanting to kind of correct her right here. Begins to pull on her, kind of holding her, just keeping it as straight as possible. She strides away by multiple lengths. So she did that fairly easily. She went in 1260. She looked like she could have gone faster if the rider wanted to, but he was trying to keep her as straight as possible. So she looked good. 1260, she could have gone faster than what given there in that work. Good work there for Better World. Up next is Dasha's Dynasty, July 2nd. She was on the inside of this two-team set. Dasha's Dynasty was timed in 1230. Clean break on the inside. Maybe not just as quick as the outside work. Maybe then catches up that one. Post the nose up in front briefly, duels throughout. Good time there for both of them. 12:20 for Dasha's Dynasty on the inside. Good energy there and good battle in that workout for Dasha's Dynasty. Look good. So those were the workouts. First, we saw Miss Famous Kitty. We mentioned the experience, but she looked very quick in that 12:10 workout, She did everything very professionally. Broke well, kept a fairly straight path, good energy in those strides. Then we saw Better World. Better World there was moving well in 1260. You can see she was trying to move inwards, and the rider was just trying to keep her as straight as possible. She could have gone faster than the 1260 given. Better World did. And as far as the pedigree side, there's a half brother. She's a half sister to Transcend. Transcend ended up finishing fourth in the 2018 Los Al 2 million Futurity. He earned nearly $200,000 in his racing career. So Better World, a half sibling to Transcend. Then we saw Dasha Dynasty there in that inside two-team set on July 2nd. 12:20 workout, best out of 30 times there that morning. Good energy, good stride, good acceleration, and good duel there through the finish. She's out of Dasha Frida. Dasha Frida, that makes her a half sister to champion 2-year-old I'm a Fearless Hero, who earned $1 million in his career, and then world champion Dasha Fire, who earned $2.2 million. So Dasha Frida has been a sensational producer, and Dasha Dynasty has some very nice breeding lines by that sire FDD Dynasty. So those are 3 of those workouts for that race number 5, which appears to be a very good way to kick off the late pick 4 on Saturday night. You can watch all these workouts at your convenience at losalamitos.com. Moving on to race number 6, this is the start of the final pick 3 of the evening. One horse that I want to revisit here is the 3-horse A Political Fire. Now, I'm going to revisit the workout of June 7th, the workout before his June 25th work, where he went off favorite from the outside post. Now, he broke inwards a little bit, had to be corrected, and then lugged out before finding his best drive midway. So he ended up finishing fourth, beating about a length, but he wasn't as professional that night of his race on June 25th. But leading up to that, I thought he had shown a good amount of talent to warrant plenty of respect there on the wagering windows, which he did as a betting favorite. So I'm not going to give up on him off of that even run because he made a little bit of mistakes. But I want to revisit back again that workout to kind of refresh our minds on what he looked like before he ever made that start. So here's a apolitical fire on June 7th before he ever made that June 25th start. And let's revisit this workout. He was on the outside of a two-team set. Gets out cleanly here. Good strides. And once he leveled out, look at the rider. Very quiet. Not asking at all. And he kicks away with authority. Very good strides. The ears are up. He's galloping out nicely. And he just looked very, very good in that workout. And that's why he took plenty of support for first time out. So I'm not going to completely give up on him because of that even fourth place finish. I think he deserves another strong look because of what he had shown in that morning on June 7th. So I like him a lot right back there on this Saturday night. Coming up in race number 6, a little fire, the number 3 horse, listed at 5-2 on Ed Burgart's morning line. While we're talking about race number 6, let's talk about one of the first-time starters there, Checking Interest. On the outside, he was on the outside of this two-team set. He's going to be on the outside of that field of 6 on race 6 on Saturday night. June 25th, outside of a two-team set, Checking Interest. A little bit of a hesitation, but gets out good enough there from the outside. Begins to find his rhythm midway. And just gradually outworks his workmate there. 1240 for Landolfo Diaz and J. Francisco Diaz. Check their interest there, June 25th for those connections. So to look at race number 6, we revisited the workout of Apolitical Fire. I was just very impressed with that workout. I thought he was going to deliver a very strong performance first time out, but he made a few mistakes. He kind of broke inwards. He lugged out midway. He wasn't really finding his rhythm. It took him a while to get rolling, and it was too late once he really was trying to figure things out. So that fourth place finish, I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm going to come right back and support him there as my pick for race number 6 on Saturday night, listed at 5-2. Jet Speed Cartels listed at 2-1 on Ed Burgart's morning line for Keith Nielsen. They paid $150,000 for this one at the September sale at Heritage Place last season. Well bred by Corona Cartel out of Valiant Jess. Interesting the kind of the route that he's taken. He shows up with a workout at Delta, Ruidoso on June, and then he comes back with another one at Ruidoso, but there's no local workouts at Los Al. And given that he's well bred, they paid a hefty amount for him. It kind of seems that there has been some setbacks for him to not make it into some of those Futurity trials at Ruidoso. So they're trying to get him to the races here. Obviously he's well bred, and he deserves a ton of respect just on breeding lines and the recent work out of Ruidoso. But I want to see a local start before backing. So we also saw the workout of Checking Interest, 1240 there for Landolfo Diaz, working in company on the outside. But I'm gonna come right back and support Apolitical Fire based on what I saw in the workout prior to his start on June 25th. That'll be my selection for race number 6 on Saturday night. So let's look at some workouts for some first-time starters and some experienced runners here for the Saturday night at Los Alamitos. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Chris for their selections and their replays and analysis here for Saturday night. Thank you for Professor G for some behind-the-scenes work. And also, shout out to him and all the marketing department and all the people working behind the scenes for a renewal of the Wiener Nationals last weekend here at Los Al. It was a great crowd on track and looked like tons of fun out there for the people enjoying the races here at Los Alamitos. So thank you for tuning in for this program. We'll see you out there this weekend at Los Alamitos.
The best in quarter horse racing continues at Los Alamitos Racecourse with California Breeders' Champions Weekend, July 30th and 31st. Juveniles face off in the Governor's Cup Futurity on July 30th, led by fastest qualifier Frivolous. On July 31st, She Goes Up will look to sweep the Governor's Cup Series with a win in the Derby, plus the Spencer Childers Championship and the Matron Stakes for mares. The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos, California Breeders' Champions Weekend.
Fire wins the Charger Bar. Favourite Colossus in a photo finish. Favourite Colossus. Able to dig even a point to prove. Flashback bearing down and flashback.